Alright guys, so I was going to do a video today on surviving level 1 in Sword Coast Legends. I'm sure quite a few of you guys have played a little bit of Sword Coast Legends who got into the early access or just want to know some general information as we've been playing Sword Coast Legends, and as some of us have been playing quite a bit trying to get some things down. I did want to kind of throw out this video because I know a lot of people were saying having issues at level 1, having issues with low levels, and even as far as saying that certain classes and things like that were weaker than others. Now, you know, each class does have its weakness and its greatness to it. Some are more soloable while others are not. But if you learn to do a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of here or there, you can actually figure out how to make your almost any class survivable, especially at the low levels. Level 2 will probably be your hardest, and then level 3 you'll start to notice a big difference in your survivability and how well you can bring things together. So level 1, we can make ourselves in any class extremely survivable by doing one particular thing that I've discovered, and that I'm sure a couple people have seen, and that's in a particular background. Now, I'm going to show you guys that even a wizard can survive, and I'll even show you that a wizard can probably survive fairly well even on solo if played properly. Now, this can be a particular build if you want to call it. You can call it a build if you want to, but the devs did make it hard in certain aspects. They wanted to make us want to kind of experiment and play around, and this is my experiment. This is my opinion on how to make a character survivable. You might not like what I do, and that's fine. You know, feel free to put in the comments how you feel, or if you found anything else that you thought that I missed out on trying to do a build. So on this build, I'm going to go through this real fast. I'm going to make a wizard since I think that'll be a really nice challenge, and I'll get to show you guys this on video. The wizard is probably one of the classes that everyone says is really weak. You know, obviously he's not melee, he can't handle his own very well, so he has a bit of a hard time when fighting more than one opponent especially. So I'm going to tweak this a little bit. The primary thing I'm going to use is a background that's not common for wizards, because most wizards are going to go for like a sage, you know, because if I pull up the sage here, I'll show you guys what it is for you who are trying to do some different insight. You know, sage, you get +1 intelligence, that's great, extra fire, cold, and lightning damage, force, psychic, and thunder damage, so you get that +1 damage. That's really, really nice. Add to your cantrip spells, add to your spells later on, and surprisingly 1 damage can actually be very, very effective in this game. And some other people will probably choose something along the lines of, say, I don't know, maybe one of the guild artisans. You get plenty of healing potions, you get some good scrolls to pull off, thunderstone, things like that, and you also still get that +1 intelligence, which can be really, really nice. I am, on the other hand, to make my character survivable, I'm going to choose, actually, pull it all the way over here, the Outlander. Now, yeah, you know, +1 con is very, very crucial to giving yourself some more survivability. That does give you a chance to get more hit points, but the very, very important part of this is the passive bonus -2 to all physical damage, and you'll see how much more survivable something with this is. 2 points of damage is actually very, very crucial, especially in level 1. At level 1, things are usually only doing anywhere from 2 to 4 points of damage to you at a time. Most of it's all going to be physical damage. You know, you're going to be running across a lot of bad guys. So to increase your survivability, you give yourself a -2 to all physical damage. That gives you a damage resistance -2 to all except for spells. So I'm going to go with that, the Outlander. I'll stick with the facials. I'm not going to go into anything super specific. Now, the next thing I'm going to do to add to my survivability, because I want to use range, but I'm going to be in close combat a lot, especially if I decide to solo, I'm going to use a dagger. Yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. That's not what it's primarily there for. I'm just choosing this as a one-handed weapon because I'm going to give a hope that at the beginning, when I can go buy items, I'll be able to find myself a shield. And yes, I'm talking about a shield. So let's go ahead and fill out what I need. I want to get my con up to about 16. I want to get my dex up as high as I can, probably 16 as well. This is very crucial, and my intelligence up to as close to 16 as possible. Now I chose the half elf because he's immune to sleep. He gets that extra charisma, which will help me in buying and selling later on in the game, which is fine. I also did it because he gets 2 more skill points, and he gives me 2 racial points, which will help me even out my dex and my intelligence, so I have 16s across the board on my 3 crucial stats I need. So now I can have the most hit points that I can get, I have the best armor class that I can get, and I have the best damage that I can get with this class. Now, true, there are ways to tweak it to where you can get the 18, just as I showed earlier with your choice of background, but stick with me here and we'll see what we can do. Alright, so abilities. This is where it's going to be very, very tricky. I'm always going to choose Mage Armor first because of the lack of armor class. You're going to need that extra 2 armor class it gives you right off the bat. And as you saw, I had 4 ability points. That's because I chose the half elf. You can also choose the human alternate. It has 2 additional ability points, and it gives you 3 stat points to play around with. I mostly chose the half elf primarily for the immunity to sleep. There are some guys who can cast sleep. I wanted to have that just to be sure. You don't tend to see them a lot, but I wanted to have that extra little bit of an edge. Alright, so if you look through all of the primary abilities, as you can tell, there isn't a whole lot that I can choose from as a wizard in lower levels. Right now I have to make the crucial decision, do I want to use sleep plus get an extra animal, might give me a little bit extra damage, that can be really helpful. Do I want to be able to search, that can help me find a couple things here or there, so I can keep an eye out for traps, raise my survivability. The other thing that I know I'm going to eventually do is I'm going to get shield. Shield is only 1 point in comparison to trying to get armors. And since the dex is so high, I'm at dex 16 right now, which gives me a 13 armor class. I then get an additional +2 for my mage armor. That's going to take me to a 15. So I'm going to keep an eye out. I'm more than likely, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and learn how to use shields. I might not get one at the beginning, but if I do, it'll be really, really helpful. So the next ability I'm going to choose, sleep is really good, but it can be ineffective against undead, and if I run into a dungeon where there's going to be undead, sleep becomes very useless very quickly. So I'm going to choose to conjure animal. And then the last thing I'm going to do to spend my final point is I'm going to try and raise my survivability just a little more, give myself that extra +1 armor class. Alright, so there it is. I'm just going to give him a generic name that I use for a lot of things. And now we have our wizard. Now I have to see if he's going to be survivable. So let's go into a dungeon crawl fast. So let's start one up. Put it on medium. Start it up. So we definitely want to make sure that I can survive as a wizard. Now, I might die. It's possible. You're never going to get a perfect situation every time. But I just wanted to show how possible it is to kind of solo. Now, the first thing I'm going to try my best to do is I'm going to hope that this weapon merchant has a shield that will give me another 1 armor class. So let's see. Nope, doesn't look like I'm lucky enough. When you're soloing, you get a healer's kit. Obviously, you're not going to need a healer's kit right off the bat because you have no one else to heal. So, sell away that healer's kit, get yourself about 50 gold. I was going to buy myself a shield if I could find it. Unfortunately, there's not one.
Right
I'll double check the armor vendor just to be sure. I'm pretty sure they don't sell shields. It's actually at the weapon vendor. So I'm just going to take my extra 50 gold and see if I can't maybe get another potion. Yeah. So downside to wizards, and one of the things that does make it very hard to survive, is the fact that pretty much every class in the game has at least something, a little bit of something early on that can give them a little bit of health. Even the rogues will have an ability to hit and give themselves a little bit of health back. Fighters have a second wind. Rangers have good berry. Clerics obviously have their heal spells. Paladins have some heal spells. But the wizards are kind of left out with heal abilities, so you are kind of restricted to wanting to use healing potions. Next thing I want to do, I'm going to switch my cantrip over to my fire. To me, all of them are pretty viable. The Ray of Frost is nice, but I have a felt like Firebolt seems to attack faster and hit more often. But it or any of the three are pretty viable. They all do pretty close to the same amount of damage. Ray of Frost does a little less, while the Witch Bolt and the Firebolt both do the same amount. So I'm gonna pull myself up a random dungeon. Goblins and Undead, sure. Why not? Just something simple to show off this build. All right, so we're gonna see if I can survive. I lost my shield. I don't have the ability for shield, so I did kind of waste a point. I could have taken sleep. I made myself a little much more survivable, but we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. All right, so load up the bandit caves. First thing I want to do is go ahead and bring out my animal, because I know I'm going to run across something. It can be random. I've seen wolf, spider, and bear. So let's get going. So, alright, so next thing I gotta remember to do is I've got to keep an eye out for what I know can hit me and deal damage to me directly and bypass my damage shield, my damage reduction of -2. I know the shaman can because he casts spells. Now, what might hurt me in the beginning is it's going to be this alchemist who can also throw fire abilities and could end up hurting me in the end, but we'll see if I can survive it. So I'm going to aim for the shaman first. Hopefully my pet will stay alive long enough that I'll be able to pull stuff off. So I got to keep an eye on my health. Be prepared here. My cantrips will keep going off until I can kill him. And you'll notice that you'll see damage reduction popping up all over the place. This skeleton's having a hard time killing me. Now, the bad thing is the shaman's going to go pull some more guys, so I'm going to see if I can finish off this skeleton while my pet pulls more bad guys for me to kill. Now, it can be a little tedious, but as you can see, the skeleton's swinging away at me. Every once in a while, he'll do a point of damage or so. Fortunately, my spider seems to have pulled some aggro there, so I'll just sit back, relax, wait for that shaman to come back, which it looks like he has. Alright, it looks like he's just going to sit there, so we're alright for now. And slowly but surely, and voila, skeleton has dropped. Looks like the shaman pulled off something on me, so I'm going to use this potion. So,
they are persistent. This should make quite an impact.
Alright, there we go. So there we have it. Looks like the shaman cast a spell on me. Yep. Granting combat advantage. That would make things pretty painful for me. Oh, my conjure animal's back up, so let's bring a new one. Looks like I got a wolf this time. So I'll search around. Take anything I can for survivability's sake. Alright. Alright, so let's see if I still have the combat log. So as you can see right here, skeleton hits Lahan for 0. So this is one thing that's awesome. I know a lot of people said that they felt like you weren't playing a whole lot of 5th edition D&D, but if you do look in the attack log, there is behind the scenes D20 rolls and things. So in this case, the skeleton rolled a D20, he rolled a 15, he got an advantage of 2 roll, a proficiency 2, dexterity modifier 2, so his attack total was 19 versus my armor class of 16. So that means that he hit. His base damage range, as you can tell, is 1 to 1. Which means he's only going to do 1 point of damage to me, and if he crits, more than likely will do 2 to 3 points of damage based on modifiers and things. So, as you can see, the total damage he would have dealt to me would have been 1, and it was reduced by 2 due to my damage reduction. So, as I said before, the build that I have currently with the Outlander giving me a damage reduction of 2 helps me survive. Archers tend to have the same amount of damage roll. They're doing 2 to 3, and they're only going to hit you really hard if they crit. So that's what your healing potions are there for, keep you up for crits. Now, this is a wizard. They are a lot harder to survive. If I was playing something like a cleric or a fighter, I wouldn't really have much of a problem. I would be able to run around with that 2 damage reduction, take hardly any damage, and just go on about my busy little day and mount me up some bad guys. But I was primarily wanting to show that wizards can be survivable at early levels. So let's go ahead and take that. So that should be short. What did I get here? So that helps against poison. Utilizing scrolls and potions is very viable and very useful for trying to survive. Also, if I'm by myself, spacebar. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this door open. See what we got in here. Alright, I see a treasure chest, so that means that there's probably going to be some bad guys in here. Give my animal a few seconds to pop up. Alright. And here we go. Alright, so give myself an animal. Give myself another wolf. Alright, so skeletal sniper, skeleton. So far so good. Neither one of those are going to do a ton of damage to me right off the bat. Archer and goblin. Okay, so unless they use special abilities, I'm probably going to be alright here. The pointy stab might hurt me. Now my poor pet won't live too long, as you just saw, but you can just see the consistent damage reduction going off, making it really hard for anything to kill me. Now, this is really good for level 1. Now, if I make it there before I'm in the video, which I seriously doubt, it's just a quick dungeon, I don't think I'll get enough experience to make it to level 2. But at level 2, the damage reduction becomes a little less viable. It still helps a lot, helps me to survive. It does become a little bit harder for a wizard because now things are hitting you for 2 to 4 damage average instead of 1 to 3 damage average. So your damage reduction is keeping you alive, but you're still taking enough damage that hurts. But your health does go up. So you have your survivability. You just got to be a little more careful. You'll have some more spells. You're probably going to go ahead and get sleep, which you'll be able to use to kind of knock out some of your archers and guys who are coming after you. Now against the boss battle, yeah, if you end up going against the boss, you're probably not going to survive super forever because bosses automatically do a lot more damage. They automatically do a lot more to you, so you have to be really careful with them. But against your standard survival dungeon crawls, you're probably going to be alright. As you can see, I'm fighting 4 guys and there's now barely taking me a half life. And since the game is based off of 5th edition, if I hit here, you see I only have 9 hit points. So I'm down to 5 of those. So things really aren't hitting me for a lot. If they were, I would be dropping a lot faster. Unfortunately, I know that the devs did lower the damage that bad guys were doing because they were hitting for 3 and 4 and even 5 points of damage, and I've even heard of sometimes they were hitting for 7 and 8 points of damage, knocking characters out almost in one hit. So they did lower the damage down a little bit via Head Start 2. So I just sit back and conjure me up another animal, get me a little more DPS.
Let's try something big, shall we?
And you can see how fast that my pet drops. It's because he does not have damage reduction. Every 1 point of damage he takes, he actually takes. Alright, so
I can do that.
Pop open a couple things, get that treasure chest here. Got another scroll. Some death cheese. That can be very helpful later on. That can actually heal me up a little bit right now. So I'm going to pull that death cheese. Go ahead and use that. Give myself a little bit of hit points. Move on through the dungeon. Alright, so. And the main thing I want to keep an eye out for is I want to keep an eye out for any type of damage dealer that would be a spellcaster, because they're going to go through my damage direction. Okay.
Let's try something big, shall we?
At your service.
Alright. So there's a treasure chest in here. More than likely it's going to be a trap. So hopefully it's an
Right
ambush
away.
trap and not necessarily a
Of
trap
course.
trap. See what we get.
You call this a
Yep.
challenge?
Alright, so we got some vampire thralls. Those are low-end vampires. We'll go ahead and take them on. Okay.
This should do some damage.
So I got a Fox's Cunning. That can be helpful later on. Don't need the death cheese anymore. Slowly kill this goblin. Doo-doo-doo. Drop that animal.
This should do some damage.
Alright.
They were clearly no match.
Clearly indeed. Alright, so let's go ahead and...
This should make quite an impact.
I want to find anything I can to survive. Oh, there's that trap I was afraid of. Hiding out.
As you wish. I think I've found something.
Yep, high intelligence. Good, good. Alright, so find ourselves a little treasure room.
I can do that. Right away.
Take our goodies here. Hey, take all. Okay. Go over here. Take all of that. Go over here. Take all of that.
Of
There
course.
we go. Why not? Let's go ahead and take whatever this thrall has. It does seem that the game kind of, whenever you loot, kind of plays towards what your character is a little bit. As you saw, I've been getting a lot of scrolls and potions that help my intelligence, things like that. So let's check the map. Okay. I still got plenty to goof around with.
As you wish. I can do that.
So that's technically the exit right there. I could go out the exit if I wanted to down here. I'm going to go ahead and cross over to this door and see if I can find a little bit more of a challenge still left for me. Alright. And alright, that doesn't look like nothing. Okay. I'll go ahead and pop these barrels here. I can sell some of these
Right
off
away.
if I don't want to keep them. And get myself some money back and
At once.
increase my gear to try and make myself more survivable. Alright. And this is where I began. So, make sure there isn't any other thing I want to do before I end. You know, I'll go ahead and finish up. Let me see if there's any other things sitting around. Because, just to show a little more.
As you wish.
See if I can find anything else that's hiding about down here. Anything at all? Nope, just the exit. Okay. Alright, well. So there you guys have it. As I said, level 1 is very survivable with the build that I just showed you guys using the Outlander. That damage reduction 2 is very, very powerful. Can help to keep any class alive if you want to make yourself a wizard that can survive. Just remember, the game's stats, you're never going to be able to get your stats above a 20 leveling up. You're going to get 2 points at level 4. So if I were to say I wanted to max out my intelligence, by level 8 my intelligence is going to be the highest I can get without gear. From what I understand from 5th edition, from what I've seen with my ranger, I have a ranger, his dexterity is 22. I can't take it any higher. And he has 2 pieces of dex gear, which takes it to 22. So from what I understand, unless they have a different level cap, you can't take it any higher than 20. So getting that extra bonus plus 1 intelligence can be a little less appealing compared to having -2 damage reduction, which can help you out in all levels, can help you with survivability, but in early levels especially. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and that is surviving level 1.